What's going on, family? Coach Christian here. Welcome again to the Fat Furnace. We're going to get to work in this session on our action plan. So really quickly, all that means is whatever your goals are, we want to take them from being ideas you have in your head and turn them into practical action so that you get up and know exactly what do I need to eat? What do I need to do right here in this session? So to get started, if you are a note taker, everyone should download the worksheet that's connected to this. I'm going to show you that momentarily. If you haven't gotten it, it's going to be in the Fat Furnace course. You should already, have access to that. If you are in the group and you haven't, there's a link above where you can grab that. A little housekeeping before we get started. It's been a really weird couple of weeks for me and my family. We've been taking turns getting sick. So I just want to say thank you. A lot of love and support from you guys. And my son as well as myself really appreciate it. Frankly, we love you guys. All right, enough of that. Let's get to work. So what we find in our program is that one of the very best ways to get people really good results is to really set a aggressive goal for a short period of time and then really take massive actions. And the reason that works so well is because a lot of the people we work with, what we end up finding out when we do a little bit of digging is we're not just missing a diet. We're not just missing a workout plan because there are 1,000 diets. You've been on them. There's a lot of workout plans. You've tried them. A lot of the time, workout plans and diets are tools. A lot of the time, there's some other issues, whether they be internal, our relationship to ourselves, that really get in the way. So some of us feel guilt with respect to really putting time and attention for ourselves, feel guilty about going to the gym for 45 minutes and what that means about, the kind of mom you are or the spouse you are. Some of us, frankly, just put ourselves at the bottom of the list where, you have these obligations for work, you have these obligations to your family. And at the end, the very last, the bottom thing you'll do is if there's time left over at the end of it all, if there's a little space in your day, if there's a little bit energy left, then maybe you'll work out or maybe you'll, really go out of your way to get a meal that's really pampering for yourself. So what we want to do is get a really life-changing goal in front of us. We want to get clear about what actions we're going to take every day. And I want to get them all the way into being scheduled on your calendar so that, we have something really rock solid that we can be held accountable on and we can take those actions together. So I hope that sounds good. Let's get to work. So the vehicle that has most consistently got our clients really great results in the short term. And what we're looking for is, it's great to have great scale results, but what happens if you have a really good result and the process of getting those results is actually not terrible. Like if you're eating food that you actually like, you're working out and you actually feel like your workouts are giving you more energy and frankly give you more confidence and frankly make you more likely to put the dress on that's in your closet that you're a little nervous to wear. Then what happens is at some point there's a light bulb that goes off and says, man, I could do this. I really do have control of how I look and feel. And the vehicle that works really well for that for us is our 42-day transformation challenge in our Fat Furnace. And about the 6-week mark, most of our clients have basically passed the 20-pound threshold, 20 to 25 pounds, depending on how much you weigh to start with. And that's generally a pretty significant amount of weight. That's really encouraging benchmark, particularly if you can get a lot done in that time. So, let's start to break down, exactly what needs to happen in the next 42 days to have a ridiculous transformation. We've had, 30-pound weight losses in that time, but our average is 20. And so we're going to work through what exactly you need to do step by step to make that happen. Very first thing we want to talk about, I want to ask you guys a question. So I want you to think about yourself personally. And this is going to get posted after the fact in the Facebook group because I didn't want to run this live, don't have to, take breaks and stuff. But, I want you to think about yourself. Like, where do you feel, let me make my head smaller. Where do you feel is your biggest obstacle in your challenge, right? So if you got, really good exercise clarity, if you woke up this morning and felt 100% confident that, you had a workout plan that you knew without a shadow of a doubt was going to get you to your goal, would that be the piece that's missing that gets you the furthest in terms of results? Or maybe would it be nutritional clarity? Would it be like, what? If I knew exactly what to eat, I knew exactly how to eat the food that I like in a way that was supportive to get me to my goal, I would be there 100%. All I'm missing is that tool. Or maybe you're in a space where like, hey, Christian, I am a deeply inconsistent person. And I believe, regardless of tool, if I could be consistent doing anything, if I could get the mindset piece of this right, and could really lock in some long-term habits, that would be the thing to get me the furthest. And I asked these questions in this format because, frankly, I sat in with my trainer for the first time. I was, 50 pounds lighter. I was toothpick skinny. I wanted to play football. My mom was like, "Oh, baby, please don't go. They're going to crush you." And, frankly, being challenged, my trainer challenged me and said, "Hey, Christian, I know that you feel like you're working hard and you're eating a lot and you're doing everything you can." So I wanted to play football. And he said, "But you don't want to be the guy who says, I tried really hard and it just didn't work for me. And then someone else who worked harder, who got results, said you told you didn't try hard enough." And that was the challenge that I needed. So he challenged me for 42 days to really lock in, and it changed my life. It allowed me to get focused on the work. And my thought process is, you know what? I'm going to be the hardest working guy to not get results, because I didn't really believe I was going to get them. And then one day I woke up and I was like, oh, looks like this thing works, right? So I want to get clear about, for you, what your biggest bottleneck is. He gave me a couple of minutes to really get clear too on where I lacked, where my biggest obstacle was, and what my biggest challenge was, because that was where my biggest opportunity is. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to put that in the comments. All right, guys. So let's take 2 minutes and put that in the comments. And maybe you're in a space where you think, no, Christian, it's not exercise, like clarity or nutrition clarity. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's not the consistency. Feel free to put that in the timer as well. Maybe it's been injuries for you, and maybe beforehand you were in amazing shape. But whatever you feel like, hey, Christian, if I could get a handle on this would be the most pivotal thing for the next 42 days. Then I knew I would be really confident that I have great results. So we can help you get to work on that. So please put that in the comments. If you're a note taker, you can write it down. You can send it to me via Messenger as well. And I'm just going to hang out while you guys do that. Beautiful. Mm-mm-mm. Should have played some music. All right, 45 seconds left. Perfect. Okay. 30 seconds. It's pretty boring for me, guys. I won't lie, watching the timer go, but let's get some answers in the comments. I'll wait for you. By the way, if you guys are watching this after the fact has been posted live, please put replay in the comments, because it would be terrible if I put this on and run live and then no one could hear me. So if you're hearing this, please also put replay in the comments. I would love that. Thank you so much. Okay, cool. Time's up. All right, bozos. So time is up. Geez, it's an annoying sound. It's terrible. Now let's take a look. Let's head back to work. Our family. So now we're going to get to work on our impact bucket. Our impact bucket is like my favorite thing. This is how we organize actions for all of our clients in our high performance project. I'm going to walk you through this. First, I'm going to take you to the whiteboard so you guys can get a visual of what we're doing here. But the idea here is all this impact bucket is designed to do is help take, once again, our ideas about how we want to look and feel, and take to what happens. Most of us, unfortunately, just have an idea and then we just take action, but there's no connection. We don't really know, hey, how many minutes on the treadmill? How many squats? What kind of weight do I need to use? What supplements do I need to take? So we want to walk you through the process of translating, hey, this is how I want to look and feel in my mind. This is a picture of my outcome. And what do the steps need to look like? And how we plug those into our calendar so we have an action plan that you can get up tomorrow and just start moving, and not be stuck dreaming about an outcome without necessarily having to bridge. So let's map this out together. All right. So if you have been around a while, you know how much I love Stephen Covey's. I think it was Big Rocks is what he calls it, but I call it the impact bucket. It's a really, really simple idea. So I want you to imagine, right? You got this bucket, and in this bucket, we're going to put a couple of big rocks, right? So a couple of these suckers. And then we're also going to have a bunch of little smaller pebbles. These are really tiny, a little bigger than that. Pebbles that we want to get in there as well. And then besides these big rocks and these pebbles, let's say we've got a small bucket of sand that we want to add to this big mess, right? So what would happen if we decided that we were going to put the sand in first, right? Then the pebbles, and then the rocks. Well, what would happen is the sand, ironically, would take up too much room. The pebbles and the rocks would actually spill out over the top. Um, and without changing the mass of any of the objects, if you just put the big rocks at the bottom and then the smaller rocks in next, and then the sand on top, the sand will sink its way in and everything will fit perfectly. So what we want to do is get clear about, what are the major priorities that we need to completely nail in order to have success. And frankly, they're really just three things, right? There's fitness, which is, the exercise, our relationship to it. There's our food relationship, food relay, you guys know what I mean? And then there's our accountability or discipline, right? Discipline's probably shorter. And if you get these three things right, if you have a good relationship to exercise, which means, you actually have clarity about what you need to get better at, you're taking action to get better, and you can see measurable differences in the fitness portion itself. I don't mean you do squats and look in the mirror. It's not how that works. But frankly, if you tell me, hey, Christian, I want bigger glutes or bigger quads or bigger whatever, more tone here, more tone there, there's a action, there's an exercise or a skill that's correlated to that. So if I tell you, in order to get the quads you want, there's a certain number of squats you need to do or certain strength you need to get to, and I just lay out the steps for you, well, then you could just pay attention to your progress and just really perform at the action, and you can see yourself get better in the gym and not just have to wait till you hop on the scale to know if you have progress. Now, in terms of a food relationship, that just means, do you have clarity about how to eat the food that's normal for you in a way that gives you the outcome you want? If the answer to that's no, you can go get weight loss surgery. You can do all the supplements you want. You could run and do jumping jacks and burpees till you're blue in the face. The moment you stop, your lack of skill in that particular area plus your metabolism is going to put you back where you were before, right? That's really the equation. So we can permanently change your metabolism through exercise by adding more muscle. We'll talk about that in a second. But we could also just give you more skills by saying, hey, look, I know exactly how many slices of bread to eat. I know how to do that now. I know exactly what's supportive for my body. I know how to eat carbs in a way that actually increases my metabolism and doesn't slow things down. And if you have those skills, well, then you can eat the things that you want skillfully. So you're not really restricting, but you're just restraining. You're not going to eat the whole sleeve of Oreos, but you can eat an Oreo without having to worry about your world exploding if you actually like them, right? So that's the second thing we want to focus on. And the third piece is discipline. Now, all I mean by discipline, some people, or their approach to fitness and exercise is, I need to grit my teeth, and the more it hurts, the more it works. And that's just kind of ridiculous, frankly. I don't want to get into that too far, but there's no correlation to how much pain you're in and what kind of progress you get with fitness. It's just like everything else. Anyone who has any high level of success at anything is going to need to have a lot of clarity on what gets them 80% of their results, and frankly focus the majority of their attention there. So what we want to do in terms of discipline is say, hey, look, now that we are clear about the skills that we need to build in our fitness, whether you're working out at home or in the gym, now that we're getting clarity about exactly how many pieces of bread, how many eggs, how much chicken breast, how much fish, how much, rice, how much pasta, how much beans, like how to measure those things so they're supportive for us. Let's get locked in and doing that and practicing that skill over and over and over again at home, at restaurants, at family get-togethers, so that it becomes super natural for us. It becomes very, very easy and it doesn't require any thought. That's what we need. So sometimes that, we call that skill-based clarity. So I want you to have the skill of knowing exactly how to eat, the clarity and the skill. Like I know what to do, and I've been doing it so long that it's easy now. Now, the pebbles in this case are a couple of things. It's cardio and supplementation. So, supplementation, yeah, it's good. I think that's right. Okay, I'm not a teacher. Good. So, we love cardio. And frankly, the reason I think a lot of our clients, a lot of people we come into contact with who are really focused on weight loss love cardio is because if you go into a gym with people doing massive squats, you want to do something and you want to take aggressive action so you can really feel yourself going towards your goal. But if you don't know, how many squats to do or how these machines work, you won't do them. You'll just do something that you feel comfortable. It's not going to hurt you. And frankly, Treadmills are really comfortable. We all know how to use a treadmill more or less. We all know how to use an elliptical and a bike. So, a lot of the time we just do 20 minutes on the elliptical, 20 minutes on the bike, 20 minutes on the stairs, and just hope that gets us the results we want because we're going hard at it. When in fact, frankly, cardio's for your heart. It's cardiovascular. Your heart's a muscle, and when it grows, it can pump more blood and really create more oxygen, which are all amazing things. It is not the third best weight loss tool, though. Cardio is just not an effective fat loss tool by itself. It works really well in supplement to other things, but if you make cardio the center of your fat loss program, what's going to happen is you may lose weight, but you're going to lose more muscle than fat. And the reason for that is because you don't need muscle to lose weight, and your body's paying attention to what you're trying to teach it. And a really efficient body for cardio is one that's very high in body fat and very low in muscle mass. And so if you ever see like even the super long distance runners, the ultra marathoners are really, really skinny, but they're still fat. They still carry a lot of body fat. They're still very saggy. And the reason for that is your body stores fat for energy. So it's like a camel in the desert. You're going to take a long, long run, having a lot of slow burning energy, which is body fat. It's a really good thing. Now, second is supplementation. I feel a lot of the issues we have around supplementation has less to do with supplements and more to do with the mindset by which we're kind of thinking about it. And I'll kind of explain what it means. There are supplements that function really well as supplements, right? Which means they can be a nice addition to a solid food relationship and a good relationship with exercise. And they can supplement those things and help you in terms of recovery. They can help you, have more fat, be more bioavailable. So there are certain supplements that can help fat be more available to be burned by the workouts that you're doing. There's energy that you can have before a workout from a supplement. The problem is a lot of the time supplements are marketed to us, and therefore we try to use them as a solution to a problem. So someone tells you, hey, your metabolism is broken, and unless you take the supplement, you're not going to lose weight. And this is a magical secret thing. And the reality is most of us don't know how to eat. For most of us, I'm like, hey, how much bread should you eat? And you have no idea. And so in that situation, taking a supplement is going to create more confusion than it is clarity. So that's why it's a pebble. It's not why it's huge. And I want you guys to catch that theme. That's a really big theme of all of the tools we've discussed here, right? So a lot of the time when we think about discipline's thought of or marketed as this thing that we're supposed to get up every day, resist the flow of our lives, and get up early and run a bunch of miles and do all the lifting and do the P90Xing and do all this stuff, and you're just supposed to discipline your way through it. When in fact, it's just not how it works. If you're going to do anything for a long time, it actually needs to add to your life. If we add more activities to your life without adding hours to the day, it's an impossibility. So there's got to be a way to relate and engage to food. There's got to be a way to relate and engage to exercise where, you feel better having done it than if you didn't. So we want to relate to, discipline around exercise. Like, hey, I want to be disciplined the same way I want to be disciplined as a father. I love my kids, so I want to take good care of them. Even though there's work involved in that, it's coming from a really warm place, and it gives me energy to do a good job. And the same is true of your body. Like, we want you to be disciplined, but not as like, the means to being in great shape. We want you to use supplements. They're great, but not to fix something that's broken. And cardio is great for your heart, but it's not the core of your fat loss program. So we just want to make sure none of these get misused. And then we'll talk about the sand up here, which is really around style. And this is going to upset some people. Great. It's fantastic, because some of you guys need to be upset. I think most of the fitness space has become a large group of cults. So there's the paleo group that screams that your great ancestors were knuckle draggers and carried big sticks and only would have ate berries and meat. There's so many problems with it. I won't even start. There's the intermittent fasting group that thinks the only way to lose weight is fasting. There's the pescatarian group that thinks, I don't know what they think, but there's all of these little groups. And what I want you guys to understand about styles, if you are approaching nutrition stylistically from the standpoint of something that has a name, right? So if I'm like, my weight loss program is keto, my weight loss program is Atkins, my weight loss program is pescatarian, is vegetarian, is Whole30, is whatever. If you got an approach that's a style that doesn't teach you how to eat all food, right? Doesn't give you skills, then you're always going to end up back where you started. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's true. And it's almost like people who try to live out of books, right? Like you can get a book on parenting and they can teach you things and teach you to see things from a different perspective. But parenting is a relationship. You can't do a relationship from a book. You can get a book on, attraction and love and romance. That's cool. But, you start to feel like someone's engaging you that way. It's very strange and it's really uncomfortable, right? You need to actually recognize that you have a relationship with your body, right? And the way you engage with food and the way you engage with exercise has to come from a place that's both supportive for your goals, but it's also organic. It makes sense with your life. So if you're eating 2 meals a day, then you're already intermittent fasting. So in those cases, I think it's good to put some structure around it so you get the results that you want. Very, very simple. If you love salt and protein and fat, then maybe doing keto is supportive for you. Where I think people run into a lot of trouble is when the program stops being about you and starts being you trying to press yourself into a style, without understanding how including or excluding certain foods actually affect your body in the first place. You're just imitating someone else, and imitation you can only do for so long. So what we want to do is create a really personalized food relationship and relationship exercise that's going to get you where you want, but also give you energy, make you better at work, make you better at home, because it actually is about you. It's centered around giving you the very best of yourself. So let's hop into the impact bucket so we can map this out. All right, so we are back in our impact bucket sheet. This is again in the worksheet that is also in the course, in the workshop course. So if you haven't received it, just click the link above, get access to the workshop, because there's a lot of other cool stuff getting dumped in there, and it can only help you. So yep, you can either go up, scroll up to the top and click the link that will get you access, or you could actually just put workbook or worksheet in the comments and I'll make sure you get it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to walk through the context of this impact bucket together. And what I want you guys to do is in the comments, I want you to, maybe you can do this on paper, take a picture if you're more like me. I love paper and pen. If you guys want to do this in the comments, it's completely fine. If you guys want to send this to me via Messenger, that's completely okay as well. But I want you to do one of those 3 things. It's critical. We're going to walk through, how we start the process of taking these ideas about, okay, what our goals are, turn them into actions, and then we're going to do a little piece on accountability. So at the end of this, we can kind of keep track and make sure that we're actually executing this action plan. Sound good? We all good there? Beautiful. All right. So the first thing we want to deal with is fitness goal. So we're going to focus on a 42-day period of time. And I want to focus on 1 or 2 simple goals. We either want to focus on losing at least 20 pounds in that period of time, or we can focus on losing significant body fat. Some of us can't check body fat, but 5% body fat is where I would set the goal. And a good way to check body fat is just taking pictures. Basically, what that means is by the end of that 42-day period, you should have significantly more definition of muscle tone. It should be a huge difference in before and afters in your waist, and basically in your general muscle tone all over. So I just want you to take a quick moment. You can put this in the comments. You can put this on paper. You can put this in the notes. What's your goal? Like, the way I want you to select this is, if in 42 days we're having a conversation, what would be more exciting to you? To have significantly more definition, or to have lost 20 pounds of fat? And, you have more definition that way as well, but you'd be a huge difference on the scale and you'd be significantly smaller. So just take a few moments just to think through, both of those scenarios and what would give you the most energy and the most excitement. And that's really kind of the point. So while you guys write that out, the idea is at day 43 for you to have so much momentum and feel so empowered that, I do have control over how I look and feel, that it makes it really easy to start asking longer term questions. But you can only live your life one day at a time. So a 6-week chunk is a really good chunk of time where we can really get active. We can focus on a goal without getting too burned out. Okay. So now that we've got the goal in place, let's deal with purpose. So here's what I mean by that. Numbers are arbitrary, right? So I could say I want to lose 20 pounds and I would go from personally 239 to 219. But that, the only reason that would be a goal for me is because it means something else in my life, right? So maybe for me, the purpose of that would be that I want to compete in powerlifting, which is something that I actually do. Maybe it would be to compete in boxing. Maybe I've been around that weight before and I felt significantly more confident, so to increase my confidence. Maybe the goal could be any number of things, right? To improve my health in general, longevity. So I want you to think okay, cool. I want to lose weight or I want to tone up, but what's the purpose of that? What's underneath that is what is going to change in your experience as a result of that, right? So take a second and think, okay, cool. I want to lose weight so that, be a good way. I want to lose the 20 pounds so that I want to get more muscle tone so that. For a lot of people, it's confidence. But go ahead and write it down on paper. You can put it in the comments. Just don't send it yet. We're going to do a few of these. And then, as you guys put this together, I'll be able to help move these into action items so that you guys have real clarity about what you can get up and go do. Okay. Now, third is importance. So these are all going to link together. So just track with me. So I'm gonna say these in order. So let's say for me, the goal is to lose at least 20 pounds. And the purpose is just to improve health. And that's important because I want to live a great long life so I can watch my son grow up and support him, right? That's an example. So purpose is, why you want it. And importance is what's the difference in the world that it will make. So if you lose 20 pounds, is it likely that you would feel more confident as your purpose? And then as a result of that, the importance of that is now I can go engage in a more complete, fully more giving way in my relationship. Maybe I can engage with my children in a way. Maybe I can be more, aggressive about my business just from feeling empowered and not really playing defense in my life anymore. So how does the change in you change the world around you, change your experience of the world? Where is it important? So think that through. Maybe for you, it's what would happen if you were really confident? What would happen if you knew that you could control the way you looked and felt? What would happen if you had more energy? What would that energy go to? How would that change things for you in a positive way? So I'll give you guys a few minutes to think about that. These are all really, really critical. I think, as we work through this with our clients, what we find is there's a good group of us who are really, really in the sky, right? Who are like, I have all these things, these ideas floating around that we want. And then there's a good group of us who are in the action. But really, the dream is in the middle, right? So you don't want to be, some people just get up and start taking action before they actually have clarity about what actions to take because they're just excited. They want to get moving, which is great. But then if you don't get results, you get frustrated because you didn't have a clear enough plan. Whereas if you were too in the sky, you were thinking too much and you didn't take enough action, you don't really learn from thinking. You learn from taking action and making adjustments. So let's get, why is it important? So now that we have, okay, cool. So now we're through importance. We're going to go to ideal outcome. So let's walk through ideal outcome. So this, I'm going to walk through the chain again. So I want to lose 20 pounds. The purpose is to improve my health. It's important because I'll be more available for my child. Then, what would the ideal outcome be from a physical standpoint and from an energetic standpoint? I'm going to walk you through what I mean by that. I want you to close your eyes or keep them open if you're really amazing at visualizing. But imagine yourself, 42 days from now, and think about, from your head slowly scanning all the way, like you're butt naked in the mirror, looking at yourself, from your head slowly down through your shoulders. Like, what differences do you see in your face? How does your chin look different? How does your neck look different? How does your shoulders look different? Down through your chest and your abdomen, how do your arms look, biceps and triceps? How does your stomach look in the front? The obliques on the side? How does your upper back and lower back look? And what differences are there? Your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, like how much definition, where do you want to see definition? What's bigger, what's smaller? How do these all look? Ankles, calves, all of the above. And I want you to write those out. Like, what would the differences be from your chin, your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your back, your ab area, your hips, your quads, your legs, your butt, your calves? And think about specifically, what you'd love to look like 42 days from now. And those would be the ideal outcome. So just think about as many as you can think of, what are all the differences you'd like to see, right? So let's work through those. That's going to be a big one. So I'll give you guys plenty of time. I'll give you guys a 60-second timer again. Here we go. Okay, and for those of you who are getting through, the visual part and all those changes you'd like to see, let's move into the energetic part, right? So, again, like 42 days from now, you look the way you want. Like, what does it look like for you to have more energy, right? Like, what is your energy level? You wake up in the morning, what's your energy level? How do you feel about food? How do you feel about working out? Like, what are the changes you feel outside of the actual physical changes that are energetic? What's your confidence level? How self-conscious are you? What do you dress like, right? Like, does that change? You're wearing different clothes. What size are you? Like, so think about, how it changes you internally. confidence wise, self-esteem wise, having more energy to direct, like, how does it affect your career? How does it affect your engagement with children and family? How does it affect all the things that are important to you? Let's just write those out as well. We're coming up on a minute, but I'm going to give you guys a few more moments to write that second part out. While you guys write, this was an exercise my first trainer put me through that was really, really helpful. I was a super, super lanky, skinny kid growing up, and I wanted to play football. My mom was crazy concerned. She's like, "Baby, don't go. They're going to break you." And she bought me all the little weight gainers, and none of them worked. And I worked my face off and ate more than any person I knew. Nothing changed. So I kept bothering this dude who was a great trainer. I just could tell he was really good. So I kept talking to him and said, he looked at me one day and said, "Christian," he's like, "I know you think you're working hard. That's okay. And I know you think you're eating a lot and you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing." He was like, "But, you have a choice to make. Either one day you'll be able to say, 'Hey, I tried my best.' And someone who did have success is going to look at you and say, 'You didn't do enough. You didn't work hard enough.' And there'll always be a person who could say you didn't work hard enough." And that ate at me. I didn't care if I grew or if I built muscle or not. My attitude was, I'm never going to be a guy who's like, "Oh, well, I tried and it didn't work for me." Maybe it doesn't work for me, but I decided I was going to be the strongest guy that it didn't work for. So if I was going to have muscle, I was going to be super strong because I was going to lift. I was going to lift like an animal. And I did. And one day I woke up like, "Oh, look, it worked." Right. So oddly enough, when I stopped focusing on the outcome and focused on the process, things moved along beautifully. But that's why I like this process for you. That 42 days changed my life. And I think it can change yours as well. Okay. So assuming now we're done with the ideal outcome, I want to move into best and worst. So, let's do worst thing first, because I think we've been on the best side of things for a while. So let's assume we never really figure out how to have a positive relationship to food. Let's just assume that we do diet after diet after diet after diet, right? What's the worst thing that can happen? What's likeliest to happen, right? Like if you've been gaining weight over the last 18 months, 24 months, 36 months, chances are, unless something changes from a large view in terms of your relationship to food, probably continue to gain weight. If your concerns, maybe they're around health, right? Maybe pills you have to take, high blood pressure, diabetes, maybe those things get complicated if you have them already. How does it affect your relationship to your family? How does it affect your confidence? How does it affect your marriage, right? Like what are the worst things that can happen if you don't really start giving yourself the space and the attention, and frankly, the love to really support yourself and learn exactly how it is, how to nourish yourself physically, how to care for yourself in terms of exercise and challenge, and really nourish yourself through nutrition. Like what eventually becomes, your life. What does that look like? And let's go the other way, right? Let's say, we really lock in and you have an obnoxious, result in the next 42 days. What does that look like? What's the best thing that can happen, right? Are you likely to continue training and working out? Are you likely to continue to get better? Are you likely to invest more energy and more time as you get more energy back from, getting great results and get some excitement in your life? How does that affect your relationships? How does that affect your family? How does that affect your career? So what are the best things that can happen? Take your time, write those both. I'll give you a few moments there. I hope you guys are kind of starting to get clearer and clearer in the picture about, what it is that you want to do, why it's important. And, next we're going to move right into like the actions and activities. But this exercise is crazy helpful for us as coaches as we put together programs, and it makes it really, really simple and clear to know what to focus on and why. Okay. So let's say 42 days from now, we've had an amazing 42 days. Success criteria is best defined as this must be true, right? So if you're going to have an unbelievable, transformation in the next month and a half, what must be true about your relationship to food? So let's put that at number one. So if you have an amazing transformation, you tone up, you lose a ton of weight, what has to be true about your relationship to food? Is it likely that you'd food prep? Or is food prep something, if you have a job where you have to drive a ton, you're always on the road, is it likely you're going to have an ice box with things that are strategic that are going to allow you to continue to have your metabolism be active? Like what's likely? How do you feel about food? Is it likely that you're frustrated and you hate eating? Or is it more likely that you, really found some good habits that feel really supportive with foods that you like, that you're really comfortable with, and you feel like you could do it forever? Like what does a successful relationship to food look like for you? And then for two, let's think about that with exercise, right? So with workouts, like, are you clear? If you have great success 42 days from now, are you clear about what exercises to do? How many reps, how many sets? Are you focused on particular exercises that get you closer to where you want to go? Are you challenging yourself to get better at things? Are those all likely criteria for you success wise? How often are you going to the gym or working out at home? Like what frequency? Do you like it or do you hate it if you're successful? Are you curious about it? Do you want to learn more about it? So I just want you to write as many things as you can think that also must be true if you have great success in your exercise program and in your nutrition and in your accountability. If you're going to be disciplined and consistent, is it something you're going to like or is it something you're going to fight through, right? What is discipline like? Is it something painful or is it something motivation inspired? So take your time. Let's fill that out. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments as I can read them. We'll send you back messages or we'll respond right there in the comments so we can help everyone. If you have a question, it's very likely everyone has it. All right, then let's jump down into the action plan. So what has to happen practically? So we're putting things in our calendar now. So if your success criteria dictates, hey, it's more likely if I'm successful, I need to meal prep, cool. Are we meal prepping once a week or twice a week, right? And what day are we meal prepping? And let's put that in our calendar. So action step number one is put in the calendar when to meal prep. Now, if you aren't sure about how to measure out food, I'm going to give you resources at the end of this. You'll know exactly what to do. So don't even worry about the how yet. But we're going to pick a day. And you can say, hey, meal prep on Sunday at 1 o'clock, for example. And that's a commitment you're going to make. Look at your schedule and feel really confident about when you're going to do it. I always say when you action plan, always go with the white water of your life. So always imagine your life's like a white water river that's really powerful. I don't want you to go upstream. It's really silly. Think about where you have leverage, so if you're a person who gets up really, really early in the morning, probably going to be later in the evening, think about how you would have to install this for this to be consistent for the rest of your life, right? Now, maybe you're not in a space where it makes a ton of sense to do meal prepping. Maybe you work at a job or travel and the idea of keeping and prepping food doesn't really make sense. It's not practical for you. Completely okay. What does your meal need to look like? What areas will you have snacks? What do you need to get clear on? What questions do you need to ask about, supportive snacks? And, for us, a lot of our clients use ice boxes and are able to keep a combination of Greek yogurt, protein shakes and things of that nature that's right for them. It's different for everyone, but you start to think about what that needs to look like and what you need to go get at the store. Or once again, if you lack clarity about what that needs to look like, we can for sure help you. If like, hey, Christian, I need snacks that I can do because I travel. I'll be more than happy to help you with that. But let's get this clear first. We're going to the store. What day? What do we need to buy? How many snacks? Let's get clear on that. So that's action plan step number one, so we can actually make this happen. Action step number two. So what time of day we're working out? So is it early in the morning? Is it in the evening? What's most consistent for your schedule where you're going to have, the convenience that's going to allow you to do it consistently? That's the biggest part. So I know it may not be where you have the most energy, but I don't want you guys doing is grouping a bunch of actions together. So sometimes clients get really excited and say, hey, Christian, from now on, I'm going to get up at 5 in the morning and I'm going to walk for 30 minutes. I'm going to come to the gym. And what happens is if you don't get up, then you can't do the walking and then you can't go to the gym. And so you have one goal leaning on another goal, leaning on another goal. And the fact is, if you can make one or two big changes, it would change your whole life, right? So let's just take really small steps to think, if we're going to make this as convenient as possible for you, when would you work out? Would you work out at the gym or home? How many times a week, right? I like a minimum of 4 personally. It's just what I like because it gives you 2 upper bodies and 2 lower bodies, and we can get into that stuff later. But when in the week is it most supportive for you to work out? What time does that look like? What can you actually firmly commit to? And then what questions do you have? Do you need clarity about saying, hey, what exercise do I need to be doing? How many reps? If you have a lack of clarity there, we'll help you through some of that, but be also committed to get some help. And let's have a conversation about making sure you know exactly what to do. But by this point, we should know exactly what our, prepping strategy is. We should know exactly when we're working out. And then 3 would be, hey, what do you need in terms of discipline? Like what structures could you set up in your life so that you can make sure that if you don't feel like it, you have some motivated momentum that's going to help you go forward. Ignore the animal. It's just part of our lives. But yeah, what can you do in terms of structures and discipline? Like for us, one of the things that maybe this is success criteria number 3, maybe there's some things that you stopped doing, right? So maybe there's food in your house that you've been buying for your kids. like cookies or cakes or snacks that you end up snacking on. We have a really simple, like in our house, just to give you some clarity. We don't feed our kid anything we don't eat. I don't care if it looks like a cartoon character. He doesn't care either. His son's 6. He loves strawberries and grapes as much as he loves fruit snacks or anything else, right? So and that makes it easy for us, right? We don't have to put things in our house that we have to resist. Just to dig down further, like even if we decide we want to do like a cheat day and we do pizza, it's just one box of pizza, so that we don't wake up on Monday morning with there being extra pizza, because there's no such thing as extra pizza, right? So think about what changes you may need to make stylistically to your life so that you're free of distraction, so you can at least pave the road that you're trying to go down. All right. So now that we have this whole thing filled out, what I want you guys to do is put it in the comments. You can snap a screenshot of it or a picture of it, and you can send it to me via Messenger. But I want to have these action plan items lit down so that, as we go through this workshop, we can have a conversation with you and we can connect with you about how this is going. I want to ask you guys a quick question. What's been most helpful so far about this exercise? What do you guys feel? You guys can put that down below. So, couple of things that I want to further with you guys. We have a quick nutritional guidance video that we've posted. It's in the Facebook group. I'm going to leave a link to it here. If you said, hey, Christian, I need to prep, I have no idea how to measure food, it's going to immediately tell you how to measure food. It's a very short video. It's got a downloadable thing you can use. It's really, really simple, something you could do right now today. What I want you guys to do for accountability on this particular video, so the homework from this, I want you to take a picture of a meal that you've measured out that is the right amount of supportive to you. And you can post that in the group, or you can send it to me via Messenger. I don't care, but I do want you guys engaged. So either in the comments or in Messenger, either one's fine. And then around exercise, we have a exercise map that literally runs you through every part of your body and which exercises get you the furthest in terms of getting development in that part of your body. So if you said, hey, Christian, I want to work on my butt and my quads and my upper back, there'll be exercises specifically lined up that you can do with video guidance, so you have everything you need so that you guys can get started in that regard. And I want you guys to do a workout in the next 48 hours and just take a picture of you doing the workout. Just the things that you can do that are really simple that you can do that feel really supportive. That's what I want you doing. There are workouts obviously in the workshop that you can do as well. But I just want you moving and some accountability, that you're moving not just in any direction, not just saying, hey, look, I'm active. We don't care about that. I want you to be seeing yourself getting closer to your goals. That's what's critical. I hope this was wildly helpful. I had a great time. If you guys do just feel like, hey, Christian, I want someone to walk me into my fridge and tell me what to eat, that's completely fine. We're really good at that. So if you want us to walk you through this workshop experience and have, a lot more accountability, we guarantee a 20-pound weight loss within this period of time, as long as you guys execute on the plan. You guys can click the link here. It's also up above, and we'd be happy to talk to you. Either way, a lot to love, guys. We'll talk soon. So I want to be really clear about supplementation. I feel a lot of it. Sorry about that, guys. Wouldn't be one of our shoots if nothing went wrong. So second thing is supplements. So I love supplements. Supplements are awesome if they're actually supplements. The problem with supplementation is a lot of the time we take supplements under the belief that there's something wrong with us. Supplements are just that, they supplement. So they work really, really well in concert with your metabolism, in concert with your strength training program, in concert with a great relationship to food and exercise. If you don't have those things, then supplements really can't help you. There's not a pill that you're going to take that burns calories. Anything you ingest actually has to give you more calories. So, and I don't want to be misunderstood here. There are a lot of things that, supplements can really help you. But I also think the issue with supplements, as well as with cardio, as well as with discipline and all